Good morning. Hey, Kate. Ah, that light. Dang it. I was trying to fix that light up there and it's just not going to do it today. Going to be a weird little fuzziness over there, but oh well. It is what it is. Well, good morning. Welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning, Amber. I almost messaged you this morning, Amber. I was that close. I was that close. Hey, Sharon. Good morning. You'd find it interesting, Amber. Anyway, as I drink some warm coffee before it gets lukewarm before midway of the show. Hey, Tanya, good morning. Kate, light is good. I mean, the amount of light that's all in front of me is ridiculous, I'm kind of I don't do the ring lights. So, if you see a lot of influencers and those type of people where they got the ring lights and the phones in the middle of it. No, I mean this is a laptop, so that's for starters, but I got a couple lights that are doing the more bright stuff, and then I have a couple other warm lights or cool lights that are warm. These are cool. The warm ones are hitting the more top of everything. So yeah, I've got a lot of light going. Plus, it's got to illuminate this green screen because you can't have backgrounds like this if you don't have it. But you get that. You get that. That's because there's not enough light in that corner. But it makes sense because it's kind of over to the side a little bit. But well, I mean, Kate, technically, I mean, they've come a long way, and I've researched them and stuff like that, but I've looked into them, and I mean, they got some really good ones. The problem is it's the cost. I mean, the ones that I've looked at are like, eesh, but see, like the main ones that are in front of me, which are really cool. I have so many features with this. This is just gonna be one side, but I could start changing colors around. This is just cool and warm light, kind of vibe. There's the one I want. And then we can go like this. We can do this is green. So there you go. Look at my beard can kind of, that was kind of cool. Little blue, little purple, yellowish, orange, pink, red, green. So it's kind of cool. And then you can obviously do a bunch of other neat little things to it. But anyway, that's why I like this because sometimes I've done if I ever do, I'm hoping to do some this year is do some group activities, so that's a goal that I'm shooting towards is do some guided meditations for people. I'll be able to create like a Zoom because you can't do it on live Facebook because they'll ding me because I'm going to have some music in the background, so I'll get in trouble for that. But I will I'll set these lights a little bit cooler so they won't be bright and stuff, even though we're all doing a guided meditation, you all should be, with your eyes shut anyway. So you shouldn't be watching me because there's nothing really much to see. Hell, I could just bring my camera down. That'd be fine too. But I know, doesn't it? I know with that terrible, glow. It's funny. Where is it? That's so weird. Look at that. If I do that, it goes away. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. It's not the end of the world. I got a couple lights shooting over there. I have extra lights. I have little pocket lights that are over here. Like, here's a pocket light. See how it goes like, so it's all the little tricks of the trade, when you do these kind of lives. Like you want like a decent lighting. You don't want it to be all dark and stuff. I mean, because like there have been a couple times if you guys have seen in the past, I'm like this. I'm like, wow, that's really wicked. Like what's going on? And I realized that my main lights aren't off. So you could see like over here. There's one light that's I have a desk light type of thing. So it's got the top and then a little reading light. So that's why you get in a couple different variations of color. And then I have my extra screen that's over here and then another warm light in the corner. So it's like you have the shadowing thing. So I ended up, doing something like this. So it kind of evens it out, but it's fun. And it's not like these are expensive. That was the one thing too, because I mentioned about those ring lights that you have all kinds of brightnesses, which this does too, but these are wickedly cheaper. I mean, and I got a pair of them for like nothing. So it's like, that's well worth it. And I can use them for anything. So, good morning, Donna. If you can't see, that's the perfect amount of light. Well, right. And it could go over it. Like, even then I used to like here's turning this one down. You can see it starts to go. And then it's just, I blend the lights, just enough. But anyway, that's the thing is problem is when I started helping out with some movies and things, when I helped out with the Booth Brothers and the movie Never Blink, you learned a lot of lighting techniques, from them, and it was something I didn't realize. I mean, I knew about it because I did theater, stuff, and I did some lighting in theater, and so I was, it was kind of cool. But it's different, when you're lighting a stage versus lighting like a scene for a movie. It's completely different. I mean, you got to get background lights, but they can't be in the shot, and you got to get enough light in front. It was wild, the amount of setup it would take to get a decent shot. So, um, but yeah, that's fun. So yeah, you just got to ignore the little over there. I need another light, but I don't want to do that. I have some other lights around. I should just whip one out at some point, but I didn't think this was going to be that bad. But I think because of that, the way I have the beach scene with the footprints, which is part of the topic, I think that's why it's doing that, is because it needs more light to cover it. So hey, XT, good morning. Hopefully it's nice and warm down there. I'm going to be heading down. Hey, Chris, good morning. I will be heading down your way at the first weekend of March, except I'm not going to be that. I think if I remember where you are, I don't think I'm going to be that far down. I'm going to be up in the Panhandle, so I'm going to be up there for a few days. So, but I'm doing a movie. You know what I mean? That the movie I've talked about. That I'm going to get a cameo in. It looks like they finally locked down the dates for the very first weekend. So I'll go down there, and I think my one's going to be on that Sunday the 3rd. My scene. So I'll have a couple lines, and there's some pretty cool stuff with that, actually. So actually not this morning, but 80 by Tuesday. Well, it's true. And actually, I mean, it is going to warm up here. Like all the snow I know Michigan got way, way more than me, way more. And that's, unique to our area, but we got snow, and it wasn't like we didn't, but we just didn't get anywhere near what they said. But it's typical for where I live. It's but if you guys remember, I joke about it. I live in the Bermuda Triangle of weather, because it's just like, no matter what they predict or something like that, it's like, it just doesn't work. So, but yeah, so, but yeah, so I'm going to, that was one little thing that just really happened yesterday, where they're finalizing this is, the second shoot. Hey, Dana, good morning. This was the second, shoot, cause they just did the other one a few weeks ago. So they got the main bulk of things done. So now they're doing a lot of the other little stuff. So that's where my scene comes in. So I'm going to be doing that, but, that'll be fun. Yeah, so that'll be a good day. And I've got some, it's going to be a lot better than I thought. Like, I mean, it's already exciting. And, I'm over the snow and going and come back. Well, and that's the thing is, well, before I go back to the movie, technically for where I live, Northwest Ohio, we're supposed to have like mid 40s by like Wednesday or something. So all this snow is going to be gone by midweek. So so I'm not surprised, but I did see, long-term predictions, from February through April, or February, or just February and March. But yeah, I mean, we're supposed to be almost right above average when it comes to the temperature. So right, yes, Kate, it will be. So yeah, so we're gonna warm up here a little bit, but long-term effect, the temperature are going to be just in that one notch above average. We're going to be in the above average. So, which that came up with all the El Nino stuff. That's why we weren't. That's why things haven't been so bad. And that's why, like, this week we are just finishing up was like, this is what, we should have been expecting. We should have been getting some more snow. We should have been getting, colder temperatures. Maybe not as sub-zero temperatures, but we certainly have all had a rough week. That's for sure. But for the snow, you're right. And Dana, yes, I mean, like I said, this week was brutal for sure. So I was fortunate enough to where, hey, Candace, good morning. I was fortunate enough that, now that I have my my manager position, now I don't always have to be. Oh, thanks, Candace. I don't always have to be on site, as long as there's nothing I have to do in person, which I've talked about before. But it's kind of cool because, like, I didn't take chances, whereas before I would have to. So it's nice that I kind of got that leeway where I can kind of sit back, stay home and work, and still get a ton of stuff done, which it's like crazy. It's amazing how much work I do. Because there's some times where it's like, I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to have like, maybe half an hour, where I don't have much to do. I'm waiting on responses or waiting for some information from a technician. And it's like, nope, I get a call for this and I get, a message for that. And I'm like, what? That's a manager job. So I'm getting into the groove on that, but that's kind of fun is that there's not a ton of freedom. Like, not that I thought there would be, you know, but this was a busy week for us, even with the weather and stuff, which, stunk too. But at the same time, it was a busy week. There was a lot of stuff that wasn't working right. And so last minutes. And so, anyway, I'm not going to go that deep into the work realm, but who wants to talk about work on a weekend, for God's sakes, right? Yeah, Candace, brutal weather, January block makes us all. It does. I mean, like I said, I know a lot of you, all my Michigan friends. I mean, it took a beating, a lot worse than we did, and that's why I said I was very fortunate that I was able to, not take risk. I stayed home Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, so I went up just Wednesday because we had Monday off for the holiday. And so I didn't want to take a risk. And, because some of it was like I could get to work, but coming home was going to take a while. So I'm really glad that I can, not risk myself anymore like I used to. And, it's just so much easier. And even then I get to save a little bit on gas, so I'm not going to complain. It's a few more bucks in the bank account, which I really appreciate. So, but anyway, so let me finish up with the movie story real quick. So now I've got to, now that we know what's going on or the dates, now I got to figure out how I'm going to get down there. And I was looking at flights and I'm like, oh, this might be like the best thing to do. Maybe I'll fly down there and I'll just save a few hours, instead of driving. And then I realized I'm like, whew, man, if I just risk the drive, it's going to be way wickedly cheaper than it is to fly right now. So I'm like, oh, and I'm like, dang, because like where I need to go, I'm like, it's just kind of a bummer because I was looking at the cost. I'm like, yeah, it's I'm going to barely do a quarter of the cost it's going to take just for the whole round trip. And so it would be about half on gas, there and back. So I'm like, ugh. So yeah, so I'm just, I think I'm going to probably drive down. And it's not as bad because I'm only going to be in the Panhandle, so I'm not going down to like Central Florida where it's going to be a little bit more crazy. Let's see. Amber saying, I love January. It's a seed catalog season. Time to start planting. Amber, that is hilarious because anybody that scrolls on Facebook, even for, 10, 15 minutes, you see ads, advertisements, all that fun stuff. I just saw this week a company, with seeds and stuff. And not that I grow things. I've always, wanted to grow like a few little things and stuff like that. But, because I don't have a, crazy, I have a typical, neighborhood backyard, but I ended up going to the website just to look at what they all do have. And I'm like, all the, flowers, of course, but then all the vegetables and fruits and trees, fruit trees. And then, the, herbs and things and spices. So I thought that was kind of cool. There was some decent stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be kind of fun because, I've always had a desire. I always wanted to grow my own pumpkins, because we all know if anybody ever does, with your kids or your grandkids and stuff, pumpkins are not cheap. So like you buy a pack of seeds and it's like still not even in a ballpark close to buying just one pumpkin. So I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to, just, plant a handful of them and hope for the best, and still have it. I actually do have some seeds for, sitting in a drawer, but maybe who knows? I don't know. We'll see. Candace is saying euchre tournament in the planning with our neighbors helps break things up. Absolutely. Fortunately, I am a majorly retired, euchre player. I will never pick up a hand of euchre ever again in my life. I'm an okay player. And of course I don't play a whole, even at the time, I just never played a whole lot, but you make mistakes and then you feel horrible. And even though it's a game, it should be fun. It's not fun. It's just not fun. I'd rather play poker, so goldfish, go fish. I'll do any of those, but euchre. So, hats off to everybody that plays euchre. I will watch it. I definitely will, family gatherings, if there's a, game going on, I'll check it out, but I won't ever play it again, no matter what. None. remember saying I got a 10,000-year-old bean that discovered a seed in a cave in Mexico. I just grew them because I thought it was good. Well, that's interesting. That's awesome. Kate, we used to throw seeds in the ground from our pumpkins and hope for the best. We got a couple small pumpkins that grew up. Yeah, I remember doing that one time too. I think, after that was the mistake though. Is like when you're a kid, you're like, oh, I'm gonna grow them. So I remember like going behind our shed in my parents' house and taking the seeds, like you put a few off to the side after you carve the pumpkin up. And then I remember going in the backyard and playing, hey, Dan, good morning. I remember going and planting them behind the shed and stuff like that. But I realized it's not really the best time to do that. I didn't know that. So you got to wait until like springtime. But, they never grew. There was nothing. So, but I didn't know as a kid, hey, Debbie, good morning. But yeah, Candace, right. But it is completely, a chance to socialize and things like that. But I mean, I'll play, crazy. I'll play Candyland. I mean, I'll do some crazy board games, it doesn't really matter. That's just the one card game I just won't touch, but that's okay. I don't know. Did I say good morning, Debbie? I don't know if I did, but good morning. Did you see he grew? No, I did not. I did not hear about that. So every year it always seems like there's somebody coming up with something new. Hey, Dinah, good morning. Yeah, I didn't hear about it, so I wasn't really sure. But that's interesting. How much did it, what was the record? Like, what did it come in at? Because I usually say wait. But Candace, I'm right in there. No problem. No problem. I will do that game easily. But that's cool. Other than, I did want to spend a bunch of time because I no issues with freezing on my end. Oh, that's cool, Kate. Yeah, no, it works. As we're waiting for a couple other comments to roll in, but I wanted to really tackle the majority. I believe is over 1,200 pounds. Holy smokes! I mean, hey, anything over a couple 100 pounds is always impressive. Hey, Kelly, good morning. That's awesome. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, I did want to talk, and I know that maybe some of you are interested, maybe some of you aren't, and then some of you have seen some video. I did finally post a video. I think it was last weekend. But I wanted to talk about grounding, especially when it comes to the grounding in the winter. And there's a couple of things, that I wanted to, throw out there because I know, I've seen a lot more people doing it. I've seen a lot more people trying it, and even then I'm nervous because it's like one of those things that you're seeing people do the same thing, and then I'm worried that they're not looking at everything correctly. Not that there's not really wrong ways, but if you guys notice, or if you haven't seen it after the show, go to my page and then you can scroll down a little bit and you can find the video where I go out and I do what I call a snow walk. And so I'm walking outside barefoot, and it is a grounding technique. Even in the winter, it's a grounding technique, which is super, super cool. And but there's limitations to that. And as much as I hate to say that, there is. And it's only because of experience, which is why I want to make sure that people are careful, because like with the temperatures that we had this week, there's a comfortable zone in doing a snow walk, if that's something you even want to, give it a whirl. There's things to know. I did take classes, but one exercise in the class was learning how to deal with extreme temperatures, whether it's hot, whether it's cold. And there is a technique to it. And I've been doing it for so long that it's not even something I have to think about. It's just so automatic that when I go out there and I start walking around, it's not, there is such a euphoria to the snow walking for me that it's amazing, especially the very first one of the year. And this one that I did, it was literally, I think it was a week ago, or Friday. It was either Friday, so 7 or 8 days ago. And it is so euphoric. It is so like it beats drinking a couple cans, drinking like a pot of coffee, energy drink. It beats that hands down. And it's, again, but it's a technique that you have to do, and it's hard to teach that through a video or through messaging. And it's better to do that with somebody like me that's been doing it for so long, to have somebody with you when you're practicing these type of extreme situations, because you know it's cold, right? I mean, that's the thing, is everybody puts it in their head it's cold, and then when they touch it it's cold, and so when I go out there I'm not thinking about it, and that's just one little aspect to it, that it's a lot up here, um and that's why I do that. Let's see. uh Amber saying the snow walking video was crazy, I wanted to try it but wouldn't find the bravery. um Candace, yeah, I have invested in grounding sheets. I just got them a month ago. Yes, yeah, and I'm going to touch on some of that, because I have a few things myself, and I've been lazy and haven't. I lost them when I was cleaning a few years ago, and I haven't found them. And then I found one part of it that I want to bring back out again. So, but those are great. So I want to remember that one. Um, but so the snow walking, especially, okay, we saw really, really bad temperatures this week. My recommendation, if that was something you ever wanted to see, and not going to use the T word. You guys know I don't like to use that word. Uh, it's if you wanted to go out there just to say you walked out there, in bare feet in snow, you don't, and it's weird. And again, this is from experience. You do not want to go out there once the temperatures are in pretty much leaving the teens and getting into the single digits. And on top of that, having to worry about a wind chill that's dropping it even further. So it is important. And it's my recommendation that if you ever want to do this, do not try to stay above 20 degrees. Okay. The reason being, okay, it's technically ice, right? We know that. Unfortunately, when you're in the 20s, and then obviously 32 degrees is freezing mark. So between 30 and 32 and 20, that snow, which is ice, is a little bit soft. It's not rough. When you start getting into those lower teens, single digits, and then if the wind chill's insane, that snow is not soft anymore. It literally goes to like broken glass. And I've done that a few times. I tested the waters out, and whoo, I'm telling you, it's not even cold. It's just pure pain, and it hurts like no other. And it's literally like you're walking on broken glass. So I've seen some people do that where, it's like you're really getting a little too close for comfort. And I am genuinely concerned. Obviously, I don't want I want people to experience it if they're willing. I mean, I'm not forcing anybody ever to do this. But it is scary. It can be scary. And I don't want you guys going out there and hurting yourself. And then obviously you got to stay up your feet because you might have scratches and cuts and stuff. And I'm telling you, I mean, the first time I ever did that, I think it was like 13 degrees. And I just remember going there going, why does this hurt so bad? And I realized when I would slowly put my foot down in the snow, there was nothing great about it. It was pure pain. So, better to, stay above 20 degrees, to do that, which is why a lot of times when I do my first snow walk, it's usually November. But we didn't have enough. Hey, Dad, what's up? We didn't have enough snow that stayed around long enough, or enough of it for me to even get a decent walk in. So the last weekend was the first time I could finally, we had enough snow on the ground. It was like, a little over, about an inch or so, a little over an inch. And it was finally something I could put. You guys, if you saw the video, you can see it. There's not a lot, but there was enough to, do that. And so I was and that's the cool thing is, mental state of where I'm at, using the technique of, understanding how to deal with the cold, and then walking, I'm out there, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and for hours, at 3, 4, 5 hours, all I felt was this amazing, amazing high. And that's the thing that's hard to, hey, Tom, good morning. That's what's tough about describing, what it's like when you finally let go. You erase the thought of it being cold, and that grounding effect takes in, hey, Betsy, good morning. And my screen keeps freezing up on me. I'll have to catch it. Yeah, Debbie, if not, just close it out and then jump back into the show. Sometimes that helps people out. No worry. Hey, Dad, it's all good. The comments aren't just yeah, my dad's not around. But when you started, taking things out of the situation of, okay, I'm not thinking about the cold. I want to release things that, are negative with inside me. I'm looking for, a natural high. You're just putting positive intentions out. Maybe you got things going on today, so it's another thing to do. There's so much you can put into that, even in the winter. And by letting all that stuff go through your feet, which is beautiful, it's just so uplifting, and it really just I mean, when I was guided to do this, which was no, I never saw anybody ever do it. I mean, it was I'm not saying I'm the first, definitely not, but what I'm saying is I never ever saw anybody go out there and do this. And it was weird because my guides told me to do this. They're like, you need to go out there and walk in the barefoot. Now, I already had the techniques down of dealing with hot and cold. So I'm like, I get that, and those were, there was a time where I'm like, I'm really going to listen to them. They believe in me. I trust them, wholeheartedly. So I did that. So when we had a snow, I walked out there, and again, it's that amazing euphoric feeling of just it you felt everything, leave you that what didn't belong. And then you just had all this positive, it felt like the sun was just completely lighting you up, and you're just, I mean, there was nothing that could, take that away from me, and that's what's really cool about it. You just to feel that sensation is, the whole point of it. But again, if you've never done it, I mean, you're going to go out there, you already got it in your head, it's going to be cold. So you're going to step in the stone. Oh, it's cold, and that's just a human response. That's the way it goes, you know, but there's so many things that our brains, can do to help, deal with situations. And like this, forgetting that it is cold to begin with and just going out there and then just automatically already telling yourself to let go of things. And so it's so automatic for me. So I don't even need to do it. It's just a habit, it's a great habit. And so when I went out there last weekend, I went out there twice that day. That's why when I posted, I think I posted a second one of the pics. I did one that was like right after work. And then the other one, it was either I think it was a Friday night, if I'm not mistaken now. Anyway, but I did it after work. And then when my daughter got home from some rehearsals she's doing for a play that's opening tonight for the high school, she wanted to go out again. So we went back out, and a little bit more snow, just a little dusting more, fell. So it was kind of cool that she went out too. And she was walking around, I was walking around, and I didn't take any video of that. I just took, still of, where it's dark out, and there was just a little bit of our, back door light that was on that you saw. But yeah, no, it's so awesome. So, Candace is saying, I love snow walking. It brings out the inner, the bike. Absolutely, Candace. Yeah, I know. That's the Viking stuff right there. Just, it's in the blood. It's amazing. Don't you think it's going to be cold? Listen to him. And that's the first part of that, really, is just saying, it's cold. We know it is. That it's a no-brainer. We know it is. We were kids once. We put our bare hands in snow and it hit our faces. We know it's cold, but you ignore it. You completely ignore it. You keep telling yourself that even if you feel it and it is cold and it's wet and you just keep talking yourself away from it. You keep distracting yourself. And it's not that you're putting yourself in a harmful situation. Because the other thought too is, when you are in an extreme, here's another little tip. If you're ever in an extreme hot situation or extreme cold situation, you're telling yourself, besides, I can deal with this, but at the same time, this is not a permanent thing. I'm not going to be stuck in this state forever. When I go out and do a snow walk, I'm not going to be out there for hours or days. So my brain already knows we're going to get warm at some point. So even then, it's another small little distraction from what your feet are first experiencing, the cold. So there's multiple mental things you're shutting. Hey, Jennifer, and Candace is right. Mind over matter. It is. There's a lot of things that we can do and our brains can do, and it's great. But like I said, you just got to be careful about the temperatures. That's the one bottom thing I want to say. So if anybody wants to go out there and give it a shot, you know, even if you just run out there real quickly, run back in, I get it. It's fine. Just don't just stay above 20 degrees just for my sake, because I would rather you have even a run out and run back in. I'd rather it be safe, because the other thing you got to worry about too is keep in mind, hey Donna, good morning. Don't forget, it could be slick underneath. So don't go running because you can fall. And that's another thing you got to be careful, because, whether you're running off a porch or you're running off a deck, be careful. I have slipped. Even when I went out at night, my daughter and I were slipping around a little bit. So it was like, because things had time to freeze. So we even had to be careful. Hey, Michelle, good morning. So we had to be really, really careful. And so, it's like, that's why another thing is that's why you really got to take your time and move and stuff. I do a snow walk to my boat. There you go. So yeah, just from that aspect, be careful. Don't do anything that's super, freezing cold and stuff. Now, let me tell you not to run a little late. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Candace is saying, where's my mouse? There it is. Yeah. You can learn to master your mind over matter. You can use it for all applications. Yep. Normal life. Absolutely. Any of that stuff you can overcome. If you're afraid of something, like that, she's talking about blood work and the needles and things. And, that was another, like, even as a kid, I was like, whatever, it didn't, bother me. And in the sight of, blood and things doesn't bother me at all. So, I mean, those are just things. It's like, it's got to get done. And the sooner you just let it happen, it's over, something like that, especially when it's something quick, Michelle, interesting that you said that. That's why I wanted to put that up on the screen. I forget about this every single year. Well, technically, okay, not in the sense of winter. So like a polar bear, I think like a polar bear plunge. Not in that sense. I have done it in, late spring, and I've done it in late fall. If you guys remember, the my short little, like 1 minute 40 some second video I did, the teaser to coming back to doing live shows, you see that I was in water. I was in our little makeshift, temporary pool. Woo! Woo! That water was, I mean, that was, that was August when I shot that. So the temperatures were still decent, but not the water. I didn't have a gauge to really test it, but I can admit that even I had to use a lot of the technique of dealing with the cold. Cause I was probably in that water for good 20, 30 minutes. And there was a couple times where I got into the shakes, which is normal. And it should be, because your body's struggling. And then I had to like stop for a second from filming and then talk myself out of it. Because I would plunge, that, and this was like early in the morning. This was like 9 in the morning. So it's, not hot, not warm, but it's still cool in the morning. The shade, I didn't want the sun, real bright, because I wanted to have a little bit of more of a darker look to that. And holy smokes, I dunked myself probably a good 4 or 5 times. I'd have to look at all the takes again. Hey Jeff, good morning. And so I was constantly, like I said, there was a couple times my daughter was helping me film, because I couldn't hit the record button, and I would tell, okay, hold on a second, I got to work this through, so I'd have to stop, and then I'd have to talk myself, through it, and then the shakes would stop, which again, there's that mind over matter thing. But it's fine. But see, that's the thing, is my mind was going in so many different places. One, I had this vision of the shot I wanted, and then we, moved the camera a couple times, so I did it different angles, and doing it multiple times. Like, I'd watch it back, and I didn't like the way I looked, and so a film thing, you got to do it again, and so um, yeah, I had to keep dunking myself over and over again, and so like I said, 20-30 minutes within this water that's just brutal, and so but it was, and so I dealt with it. But to go back to Michelle, I forget every time, and I'm glad that Jennifer is in here because she had her husband do this. So I forget January 1st, they apparently do a polar plunge down on our one river. And so I didn't know about it, and it wasn't until Jennifer was posting it that I saw. I was like, oh my gosh, her husband's, Jeff's, they're running out into the water of the lake, and I'm like, oh my, and I forget about it, but it was way too late because it was already late afternoon, and I'm like, man, I should do that, because like if I could go walk in snow, I could definitely jump in there. Jeff did it in Holland this year. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I didn't know, where. I wasn't sure where. I thought it was Maumee, but yeah, that's cool. But yeah, so I mean, there is they do it. I miss it, and it's funny that I miss it, but then again, maybe it just wasn't, it's never, not all the stars aligned for me to do it, but I would jump in. So yeah, I would jump in, but like the thing is like you watch a lot of people do it. Whenever you see the videos, it's always funny because they just like go barreling in, jump in, and then run back out. See, I'm going to be like completely different. I'm going to be walking out there really slow. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to lay back. I'm going to dunk myself. I mean, it's going to be like, what is wrong with this? Because everybody else is going to be jumping in and out. I won't. I won't. I'm going to take it nice and slow. I'm going to enjoy the actual whole thing. But let's see. Yeah, why? Yeah, somebody had to run the camera, Dad. That's why she didn't take the plunge. No, cool. That's cool, Armani. I'm sorry I didn't say hi yet. I know I was stuck on a topic. I didn't want to jump off of it yet. But yeah, you take it easy, get some sleep. Michelle's saying I walked into Lake Superior up to my knees in July one year. That was my like, right. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. That even like here it is in July and it's pretty cold, and certain stuff. That is pretty amazing. Jennifer. Well, see, Jennifer, then I'll leave it up to you to remind me. Like if it's coming up and you guys are gonna go again, like if Jeff wants to jump in again, remind me and then we'll go together. I'll catch up with you guys wherever it is. I will go. So that'd be awesome. So yeah, I'm in. If you can remind me that when it's coming up, I'm in. I'll go. So no problem there. If it's a Saturday, we're not doing the show. We're going into the water. we're going swimming in January, which is fine. And then again, that would be awesome. Like I said, that would probably blow people's mind. But that would be even funnier for me. But I'm gonna be like, yeah, whatever. So, but yeah, so I've always thought about it, but I just never. I know it's kind of it's my like fall cup, but I like this one because when it tapers, it keeps the heat down lower, so it doesn't, like it's now getting lukewarm. But I made it at 9:20, so so it's still pretty good for being that almost an hour. Kate, that is a possibility. I could, see if Jennifer's there. I mean, I can give her my phone and she can film using my phone. So yeah, I could do a live. That would be great. Yeah. I mean, if not, I'll definitely, take some other people along that will. So there would definitely will be evidence. Trust me. Yeah, there will be evidence. That's not a problem. I wouldn't do this and then not prove it to anybody else. Even though I know I'm going to do it, I'm not afraid to. So do the show in the water. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. I don't. That might be a little intense, but yeah, yeah. I don't know if I would. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. Well, I mean, I could do a little mini show, maybe 15 or so minutes, but I don't think I'd want to do a whole hour sitting in the water. I mean, because I know so that's the thing. That's that mental thing of where it's like, yeah, I know I'm good, but at the same time, do I want to push it that long? Do I really want to do this when I know I'm not in a real situation that it matters? When I know it can show and prove a lot to everybody else, but there's also that other flip side to it. It's like, well, you're not really, this is great for, 10, 15 minutes or so, but it's not, in the long run doing anything else. So there's a little mental thing to it, but you never know. You never the whole show from the water, 1 hour. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so that would definitely, I'll have to look for it again, and that'll be fun. I mean, I certainly will. Yeah, like you said, I always forget about it until I start seeing people put the videos up. I'm like, oh my gosh, you know. Let's see. Oh, and Michelle saying, I just remembered I went swimming in a glacier melt in Iceland, 1 degree Celsius water, but I had a dry suit on. You still feel the cold. It wasn't. That's true. Yeah, the dry suits are great because they do keep you dry, but it doesn't prevent you from um, staying warm. There's concepts of where when you wear a dry suit that you actually dump warm water inside the dry suit. And so that water then being warm already stays warm with your body temperature. So then it keeps you safe, especially for a lot of divers that do a lot of cold diving. That's a technique I've seen them do where they pour hot water and stuff in their suits. And so that water kind of surrounds them. If you guys have ever seen like the Deadliest Catch and things like that, the survival suits that they wear, those big red ones, they're not waterproof, but what they do is they bring water in, and then that water reacts to your body temperature in a pretty quick fashion to where it warms it up. So that way you stay afloat, but you warm that water up so it keeps your core, and extremities as warm as it can be until you're rescued. So I'm, seen that show back in, when I used to watch it, long ago, and you learned a lot about those suits. So that's one thing. Um, Yeah, let's see. I think your dad is trying to get you. He could be, Candace. He could. He could. Hey, Margaret. Good morning. That's the thing is it's not for everybody. I mean, that's the thing is nobody's forcing anybody to do any of this stuff. Just like I said, I would never tell anybody that you have to. I've never told anybody, to go out and walk barefoot in the snow. Never done that. If it's calling to you and you have an interest in it, that's a different scenario. But if it's like, nope, it's not me, that's fine. Where nobody's forcing you to do anything in life. These are just other things to do that. And kind of the whole point of like the grounding and stuff, what have I've always said for years, so even with the temperatures being cold, sometimes some of us have to go out to a mailbox, even if it's outside your door, on your house, or if you have to go to the curb to get your mail, you put a coat on, you maybe, boots or whatever, gloves, but you're outside in the elements. And even in that short amount of time, you can do grounding even in that aspect. You just, it helps to actually, I mean, I said at the very minimum of anything is at least stick your head outside and feel the air. But if you could step outside, that obviously every little bit more you can add to it to help with grounding makes a huge difference. Granted, if the conditions are absolutely horrible, like, especially in thunderstorm stuff, don't go out there, let's use some common sense. I mean, I go out in rain, but I'm not going out in a major thunderstorm. I'm not, I don't want to get struck by lightning if I don't have to, but I will go out in pouring rain. That's not a problem. But again, common sense, but yeah, just little things like that, you to go out, stand outside real quickly and, granted, common sense, nobody says you got to be out there for, an hour, what I mean? And so to, just stand outside real quickly, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, give a little bit of gratitude, a little thanks, even at the same time when you're, giving thanks, say, hey, I got some stuff on my mind. I don't really want to deal with this, or it doesn't belong to me. That's a key thing. And just imagine it going through your feet, into the ground. I mean, that's a beautiful thing to do. it's a nice reciprocal thing is when you do this. Obviously, the more direct connection you can have, which like the snow walk or even in the warmer weather, bare feet on ground is a huge grounding. It is a big one. And that's just one thing, but that is a beautiful one because not only can you take in positivity, you can release negativity. So it's a cool little cycle that you can do. And it's so easy, even if if you got, you know, if you're not in the best of health and maybe you got some issues, ankle issues or something, just get into a chair, take the shoes off or take your, flip flops or something off and just put your feet down on the ground. You don't have to walk around. You can modify it to you, you know, but just getting your feet down in something like that. Granted, that's great, in the warmer temps, but like now, yeah, even then, what you could do? You can actually take your hand, maybe pull it out of the glove, pick up some snow, and just feel the energy of the snow. And the snow has energy. It fell from pretty far up in the sky, so it's had a little bit of time to charge up. So a lot of good things in the air, and so you can take that on. And even then, touching trees, go up to one of your trees in your yard, or maybe you go for a walk in a park. Put your hand on a tree. The trees appreciate this. Yes, they're kind of in a hibernation mode, but the trees are still alive. They still will provide you with love, energy, positive thoughts. It is a beautiful thing. I do that a lot. If I'm out or I get near a tree, I'll touch it real quick, you know, just to get a little feel for it. And sometimes, I'll talk to the tree and we all have a conversation back and forth. And that's beautiful, you know. So, and again, now you can still do it through the glove. That's fine too. There's nobody saying you got to go, but if you can do more of a bare hand, because that obviously is, your skin and the tree itself, it just it's almost like an amazing, it's almost like plugging into an outlet. There's just a good connection. Doesn't mean that it doesn't work, through clothing, like gloves and things. But yeah, I mean, there's so many little things you can do out there. Let's see real quickly. I just want to see Chris. Yeah, I saw your phone. Oh, Chris got to see them that's cool, Donna. Earthing. Well, Dad, the problem is grounding and earthing. It's people. I'm tired of people like having to rename something just because it sounds better. It's just a wording deal. Grounding and earthing is the same freaking thing. I don't care who you are. It's the same thing. So I don't care how it's worded. If you like earthing, great. That's fine. Whatever. I like grounding because I just really that is the true word of where it's been around a lot longer than earthing. I think earthing's a new term. I don't even remember the first time I saw it. A handful of years ago. I'm like, grounding goes way back. I'm like, forget that, So I'm like, I like grounding. Just like when I do remote viewing, there's a huge contingency of people that are astral projection. And that's fine. There is slight variations. Hey, Becca, hugs to you. There's slight variations, but in the end, it's the same thing. I'm sorry. So I was taught remote viewing. That was what it was. And so I stick with it. So when I just stick to one term, it's because that's what I know. I'm not against the other term. It's just that's what it was. So that's how I work it, so now you're appreciating closures, right, Candace? The same thing. I know it's called right. Well, right. I mean, grounding is grounding, and earthing is earthing. So it's getting that direct connection between your skin and the ground, or earth, for that matter. So absolutely, it's just having that direct connection, which is really cool. That's why I said it's better. Yeah. Now, having shoes on or having clothing, like to prevent you from it, it still can happen. It still does. Is it highly effective? Not as much. You still will get those vibes and feelings that you need. But at the same time, if there's something you can do where it's a little bit more direct contact with something that's, connected to the earth, like a tree or plants, flowers, snow, things like that all have, they're touching the ground, make a difference. So, the more you can expose, your hands or your feet to it, great, And I know again, winter's tough, but at the same time, there's so many things you can do, to make it work. Um, Betsy, grounding is a less woo-woo word than nothing is wrong. Woo-woo, right, Betsy? I know. I mean, like I said, it's fine, and you have to go with what the if you like one term, great. No problem. I ain't gonna fight you on that. You know what I mean? If people like earthing, that's fine. I know what it means. You know what I mean? So, but if I say grounding, I hope you understand it's the same thing as what you mean by earthing. That's how I look at it. But let's see. Becca saying I found working plant. Let's see. Hold on. My mouse is going crazy. There it is. Oops. Yeah, I have found working with plants and getting my hands dirty during the weather help. Yeah, during this weather helps. Yeah, see, and that even then, even indoors, you know, there's still a little bit of a connection because even then, technically, let's say it's a potted plant inside your house. Is your house floating in midair? No, there is a foundation. There is still a connection through other means. Cement, cinder blocks, wood, everything's still touching the earth. So even like that, with her, touching the plants in the house and things, they're all still connected. There's still those lines and things. So if you need that visual, they're there. You know what I mean? So keep that. Hey, Leslie, good morning. So yeah, that is completely something to do, especially during the winter. Uh, because those plants are living. Especially the ones that live indoors all year long. They love the attention, absolutely, and they will definitely give you a vibe, because even then they're going to be in some type of dirt too, which dirt came from the earth. So again, it's all right there. It's all right there. Let's see. Kate, that's why I love laying on a blanket in my yard and the beach. I hate sitting on chairs. I don't feel as good sitting on a chair. That's great, Kate. Yeah, I mean that's a perfect example. Yeah, I mean, the more you can do it, great. And even then, okay, some maybe the ground's really muddy or something. Let's say, and you want to sit on something that's going to protect you from not getting super dirty. Okay, that's cool. But you can also put your hand on the side. So you could still be sitting there, so you got some contact, and then you could just put your hands on the ground or your feet. So you can modify it and still get a lot from it, which is really cool. Maybe that's why I love being barefoot in my home. Kate, yep, that's it's your body, your subconscious is already adapted to all that, which is why you do it, to even, I mean, granted, still, even being inside of a house or structure of some sort, if you're not obviously touching the direct ground, it takes a little bit more, but it still applies. It still works. So, like I said, even if the elements and something's really bad, storms of whatever season it is, and you can't go outside, it's not safe to go outside. You do what you can indoors. You know what I mean? You do what you can, and you can still do that. But talk to yourself about it when you're doing that. So even if you're walking around all day, Kate, now your aspect, you've been doing it so much that it's just a routine. Just like for me, I go out and do a snow walk. I don't have to sit there and put my mind to anything. It's already there. It's been there. I'm excited as it is when I go out there. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see. Margaret saying, I love walking barefoot in the spring and summer, not too much otherwise. I have 4 plants and 3 animals. So I say, you do. Yeah. Yep. It all applies. It all applies. Absolutely. I lived there for a while. I know it's floating. You're right. Yeah. So I was on and stuff there. Exactly. Especially if it's floating. um, that's why, Donna, I love gardening. Absolutely. Yep. Sitting on the ground is practical for me. Well, you're right. And again, yeah, it's however it can work for y'all. Yep. Betsy, I love it. It's a whole new thing. You're right. But yeah, and so and I know, I think Candace said it earlier too, about winter being stir crazy and cabin fever, and those mindsets pop up, and those shouldn't happen for a lot of reasons. One, there's so much you can do personally. You can distract yourself from a lot of those things, reading books, watching movies. I mean, there's modern things to do to get you through it. And then, if those aren't your things, back up. Okay. Do more meditations every day. If you calm your mind down, you're not going to go into that stir crazy world. You have to find what is your thing. And obviously, we're all different. There's so many of us, that are watching right now or watching this back. We all do things a little bit differently. And that's the thing, is you have to find what works for you. Um, Rebecca, making candles oddly works. Yeah. You know, it just, there's so many neat things that you can do to keep yourself occupied. But again, that's why I want people to realize that, January, February, for a lot of us, especially, the people that are midway up, the United States, and we have to deal with winter, we have to deal with colder temperatures, we have to deal with snow. It's all that fun little stuff. And so, it's one of those things that you have to keep your mind occupied. And so, granted, a lot of modern things that we can do, like this, we can all just get together on a Saturday morning and, have a little chat for an hour. And that's, can set you up for the rest of the day. You know, just something like this, food for thought. You can take some of these things and think about it for the rest of the day. And that's the thing, is just whatever works. Listening to music, sometimes that people need that playing all the time because it helps them out. I've watched friends of mine that they've got music on all the time except for when they sleep. It's always on in the background. I'm always like, man, I don't know if I could. I love music. I play music, but I'm like, I don't know if I could have it on all the time. But that's not me. I mean, I would, but it's not me. And so it's like, I love it that I get to see other people that they're doing things they probably don't even realize they're doing. And yet, like that, where I see them playing music all the time, it's great. It's great, but that helps them. And that's something they probably just don't realize. Um, let's see. Yeah, I've been getting into repainting porcelain. Oh, that's cool, Amber. That's really cool. Yeah, Betsy, you got to get, if you're not used to my dad by now, you'll not, yeah. Everybody that's been around to these shows for a couple of years now, if you've not been around, you'll figure out my dad real quick. Michelle saying, same. The other occasionally step barefoot on my porch in the winter. That's enough for me. Right. Yeah. See, and if that's all it is, no problem. My food was eggs, bacon, and sandwich on a muffin. Hey, that works. Let's see, Margaret, when you're down, you can gain energy from the music. Oh, yeah. Yep. Let's see. Right. Yep. I know. Yeah. My father, he's still playing music to this day, which is cool. He's in a couple little bands and things that they do a lot of cool things. They do stuff for, what was the one you've done it several times, the honor flights. You've done those, which is really cool. Supporting the veterans and things when they've, take trips to Washington, D.C. and stuff to look up the memorials and stuff for them. That's really cool. So, yeah. So even my dad, still very, very, still keeping, see, and that's like that. There's a good one for my dad. My dad's got plenty of things that he does. Music's one of them that keeps him going. Plays it sometimes a couple of times a week, or at least he's going to practices. So, there's things that keep him occupied, especially during this, the winter. I mean, granted, he's doing it all year long, but during the winter, this is one of those you can look forward to, Jill saying, good morning. Yep. I'll catch the replay show. I got a shoveling in it. No problem, Jill. No problem. Yeah, I know it's really sunny out for me right now. So I'm surprised I'm not having a sun issue on my screen. So, I could be sarcastic. It could be too. He wants to participate in the conversation. It's all good. It's all good. Yep. I like to paint when the supplies are very calming. Donna said. Rebecca saying, I listen to frequencies on YouTube to help me see. Those are great. That's another wonderful one, especially at night. Granted, that's a whole nother topic to go down too. And we are at 10:30, so we're pretty much out of time, but that's a great one too. Frequencies. I think that might be another topic I'm going to hit at some point in the near future. But I want to prep for that one a little bit more. I want a little bit more stuff prepared. But that'll be a good one as a frequency topic. You've tried plugging in. Hey, Chris, good morning. Music always lifts my spirit. Absolutely. Yeah, it does a lot. It does a lot. Yeah, Leslie, I love listening to frequency. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, it's amazing that you don't have to blast them. It just can be just enough to where you can hear it. So it can be still low in the background. I've got a few apps, and I've actually got some, I still have CDs that have frequencies and tones to it that you'll just listen to the tone for a while. And then there's plenty of yeah, this is something, you know what? Who knows? Maybe we'll do this topic next week. Maybe I can get my stuff all situated. We do a frequency topic because see, I'm going to start going down that path and we're out of time. So, um, picking on, well, you know, I mean, Becca, I can't say, you know, that's a bad thing. You know, I can't say it's a bad thing. Oh, that's cool, Betsy. Yeah, music is one of my favorite. Yeah, it is. And I think it is for a lot of people. I mean, there's always certain genres, certain artists and bands and lyrics that really, you know, connect with you. I mean, I can say that for especially the last like 2 years. Yes, 2 years, 3 years. There's been a lot of songs that have just come out of nowhere. Again, I'm getting way off topic because we should end the show, but I've had a lot of songs that just come out of nowhere. Artists and groups I've never heard of, and then the lyrics just I'm like, this is exactly how I feel right now. This is insane, you know. But the whole thing is they fell in the right time, in the right place for me to use that and to understand it and reflect on the things that are going on with me. So or having a beer or 3 on Friday. Absolutely, Dan. Oh, jeez. I feel like all the time on the radio or YouTube. That's awesome. Yep. I figured you did, Dad. Kate, techno dance music gets me totally. Hey, you know what? And that's what I'm saying. I don't care what the genre is. There is a genre for everybody. And, you know, I'm very widespread. I have so many musics. I mean, I will if you were to hang out with me and we were going to do music all day long, you are going to hear pretty much almost everything. Without a doubt, you're going to hear every type of genre there is. And I'm not kidding you. I love music. I love different styles. I love genres and stuff. So it's absolutely just something I live for, is to be able to go like, hey, I'm feeling, you know, a Celtic, you know, song right now, or now I feel like a heavy metal song here. Oh, but you know what? I want the symphonic song. You know, I've got favorite composers I want to listen to. I will go everywhere there is, you know, and I love it. I love it because it's just it just makes a whole big difference. So, yeah. And Betsy saying it helps me feel express my emotion. Absolutely, 100%. I love it. All right. So you know what? Maybe that's what we'll do. Maybe since you guys have really pushed that at the end here, maybe we'll do frequencies next week. That'll be great because I know there's that. I might have to like make sure, hopefully nothing major going on during the week, because we'll have to start early on it, because that's a big long topic, because and I'll have to see if I can get like a bunch of examples too. And I have to practice that. So maybe I'll figure out how to make sure I get the audio to work. So if I play a video, you guys will be able to hear it. So I'll have to figure that out too. Oh wait, Chris, I got to do that real quick. I love bagpipes, drums, Rick. Yes, I like that. Nothing wrong in that. Like some good old bagpipes. So there you go. So there you go. That'll be easy. So what I'll do is I'll actually go ahead and when I close this out, I'll go ahead and write the show. I'll even put the show up right after this for next week. So I'll just get it ready to go. Chris, I kind of knew what you were saying, but I just let it go. You know, I'm used to it because, you know, autocorrect and typos, it's no problem. I mean, if it was something way off, I would have been like, well, I'm not sure, but I knew what you meant. I knew it was rock. I write the sound of the drum beats that helps me focus. That's cool, Amber. Yeah. Yeah. Sound even too big, condensed, right? Yeah. Well, that's the thing, Betsy. I mean, it's a huge one. Yeah, I know it, Michelle. I have some stories about using their frequencies during SD. I know you do. So I said, this could be a serious long topic. It might even be like a 2-parter, to be honest, because there's so much and it's so in depth of information and knowledge. So yeah. That's cool. All right. So, all right, I'm going to end it because we've gone long enough, and I need to go upstairs and check on things. Okay. Yeah. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all the comments and things. And so it was another fun show. And, it was so interesting as I close out that, if you guys notice, my hair's not even pulled back. Why? Because I actually took a shower this morning. This is like, normally Saturdays I don't, because like, unless I usually right after the show, I take a shower, but I was like, you know what? I feel like a shower, which, is a grounding thing. It's a way of cleansing too. You're letting that water wash over you. So I thought it fit perfectly for me, because it's like, here, I'm going to, do all this, get cleaned up, and so it mattered. So I did that, and I didn't even like, normally I just don't want to in the morning. I just want to do the show. And then afterwards, there it is. So yeah, it's one of those rare times you just see the hair down and everything and it's clean. So thanks, Amber. Yep, appreciate it. Betsy, love you too. Donna, bye. I think, well, it's usually Kate. It's usually always down. It's only when on Saturday shows, because like I said, I want to wake up and just, this is the point. We're not putting makeup on. We're not, you know, hairstyling. We're not doing any of that. We're not putting on anything fancy clothes wise. It's just like, let's just sit down. We're sitting around the breakfast table, waking up together. So that's the point. First time in the month, right, Dad? Dinah, have a good weekend. A dirty show, right, Dad? But anyway, I'm going to get out of here because I got to go see what's happening upstairs. There's been a little bit of chaos going on. I could hear it going on, so I got to go see what's happening. So everything's hopefully okay. But yeah, thanks for coming today. Thanks for joining. Thanks for a lot of the cool comments. You guys are always make the show fun when, you know, you guys are sharing, you know, your things or your questions. I love that. Always it's a good time. Because again, it's about all of us talking together. So thanks, Betsy. So Margaret, have a good one. Yeah. So, all right. Have a great rest of your weekend. Stay warm. It looks like we're going to warm up a little bit this week. So, you know, some of us might be seeing, you know, the snow melt, which is all right. Nothing wrong in that. I'm sure we'll be glad to, you know, kind of get back to some warmer temps for a little change, you know. So take it easy. Enjoy yourselves. Again, have a great weekend. And I will see you all soon. You know, I'll probably have some, you know, more posts and things. We'll see what the skies are telling me photo wise. So, you know, look out for those. You know, I still love doing that. So anyway, okay. You guys have been watching the Mid-Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thank you so much for being here. I will see you again very soon. And as always, all my love, light, and peace to each and every single one of you. Take care.